Hello and good morning, everyone. Today is day two of doing all that is empowering, all that is bringing people together, all that is standing up for people. And we are back again on our Facebook Live event where we are joining hands and standing up in solidarity with the 16 Days of Activism initiative, where we are intending to eliminate violence against women by 2030. Hi, Emilio. Welcome. And we have with us my dear friend and wonderful role model, Malaika Bakshi. I have a very personal connection with her because she can speak the language of my homeland. I love speaking with her in Bengali, and she's very fluent in Hindi, and she's very fluent in two other languages, South Asian languages. I read up a little bit more about her, a little more than what she normally says. She's a quiet person, doesn't like to brag about herself. I love talking to her in Bengali, and it makes me feel I'm home in Canada. I'm home, back home where I was born. So before I let Malika take over, I would like to introduce her and share a little biography on her. Little is about 2 pages long. That's how much she has achieved in this very little span of time that she's been on this planet. Malika came to Canada as a first generation immigrant. She is from India. Prior to 2 decades of work with one of the most successful retail companies, Malika trained in media, where she developed a belief in helping people tell their stories. This belief grew into a need to do more, a need to advocate for others. After her long career in corporate retail, she traveled back to India to advocate for the rights of domestic workers who are still without a law to protect them. Under the banner of her newly formed company, New Horizon Media Arts Inc., Malika filmed her debut documentary about Indian domestic workers, and it's called Crossing the River of Life, which was showcased in Amsterdam, New York, and Tokyo as part of the Lift Off Film Festivals worldwide. So she's like the Doctors Without Borders, you know, global influencer. To further the cause of domestic workers, she also wrote a book titled LOKI and I that is currently available on Amazon. She's already in the post production stage of her next project, Sri, an episodic series on North American immigrant women. The series showcases the connection between these women, dance heritage, that is art forms. The series also showcases, yes, and the self expressions of a woman in art or through art. Malika holds a postgraduate degree in mass communication and is a distinguished Toastmaster. She has so many feathers in her cap. I'm already stumbling and fumbling, like, okay, what else? She has been studying social work as a mature student to better understand social justice in a developed country like Canada. Malika has worked with ZTV and ETV that are leading South Asian channels. So this is Malika. However, behind all this, I was going through Malika's book, Loki and I, and the dedication that she has in the beginning of her book caught my eye. It captured my heart. I'm going to read the dedication, her dedication. And it says, to those who suffer in silence, thinking they are alone, to those who don't think there's a better way to work and live, To those who have died unfairly without getting justice. I'm getting goosebumps already. To those who are desperate for change, and to those who want a better future for their children. That is the quintessential empath that Malika is. And that's how she steals people's hearts. Over to Malika now. Malika, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's such an honor to have you with us today. I am so grateful to you for all the work that you are doing through the way that you know best. Whatever talent, whatever skills you have allowed your passion, your purpose to consume you. I know that you're a giver. I know how wholeheartedly you contribute to whatever projects you commit yourself to. We'd love to work with you. And I would like you to share a little bit of your story.
Thank you so much, Shireen. I didn't, so I know that you're a great, inspiring talker yourself, speaker, and you win lots of hearts. But I didn't know that you are such a great researcher. So you have done a lot of research and have left nothing for me actually to say. And it's a really, I really am humbled by this interview. I feel a lot has to be done, and I know people have different objectives in life, and it's a very funny incident I'll share with you. I'll begin with that. Is when I was much younger and I was very right, competitive spirit when we are in our teens, and we see our children now like that. That time, an astrologer, my mother took me and she asked him, what you want to do. So, like any young aspiring adult, I said, I want to do something good, but I am competitive, but I want to do something good to the world. So he looked at me and said, you know what? Your chart shows you better do something for the world because that will be yield you more results than doing something for yourself. I was very young at that point. I didn't understand what he meant. But over the years, I learned that empathy is the way to go. Empathy is very important at every stage of life, and my passion for doing whatever projects I'm involved in is driven by empathy. And I love to feel, because I don't think any story is very unique. You will resonate. When you read a book, when you see somebody in front of you, it resonates with you. And so self awareness, which is coming now more, I would say, with my social work and all that. But self awareness happens at every stage of our life. We need to be more conscious about it. So that's exactly is my driving force and everything. And even when I started it all began when I was in grade 10. So when I went to radio station, I remember with my dad is, and he took me to the December morning. It was very cold in Delhi. And at that time, I was like, oh God, I have to get selected in this because there are 50, 60 students there and I want to be selected to be singing or whatever. But when I went in there, I found the opportunity to do features, radio features, which are like documentaries. And you can pick any topic you want. And would you believe which subject I picked? I picked a subject called Street Children, Pearl on the Pavement. Not many people know about this. This is in grade 10. And this documentary went into SARC, which is a 7-1 countries meet in that time. And a very eminent journalist wrote about it in Times of India. And I was only in grade 10. I didn't even know what I was doing, But why I wrote about the children is because when I saw these children stop by at the signals, and there was this child, I used to see him every morning touching the glass of my car, and he'll put a cloth and he'll try to rub it right there. And I said I was so every day I would pass them, and we people gave money, and those how those things are. So one day I could not take it anymore. I got down from my car and I walked to the child and I said, "Why are you doing this?" Then I went and I got in to see long before Slumdog Millionaire a different life that they were leading and what their parents were doing. And then I realized there was a connection. These people are coming to our homes, and these are the people who are serving as domestic workers, carpenters, many people, various other kind of work. So it's like everybody, because they're looking for a profession, and it's survival. So we need to respect each other when we are going through that survival journey, and that empathy is important. So that's what is my secret little thing that drives my passion. And issues like domestic violence, even children, street children, these are all not like something on the newspaper. We read about it and you talk about it, you see it in front of you. So I've seen friends, and when I was working, even in my profession, I saw one girl coming to work and she had a black eye. She was a Canadian girl and she had a black eye. And I said, "Did you get into fights or something? What happened?" And she didn't want to talk about it because when I early career in Canada, we all struggle, and I was working in the store and she was working the store level. And that girl was missing for 3 4 days. She could not talk to anybody. And then one day she broke down and she spoke to somebody. So I was there to listen to her. But then I realized that I could connect with her, like I could see the same signs in different parts of it. Like I'm not going to details, but I have seen abuse very closely. I have seen people take their lives because of abuse very closely. I've seen people harm themselves because they have been quiet. And that is exactly when we as communicators need to come forward, and we need to kind of take an action. And that is exactly how do you do action? You can start with anything, whatever you know, what you're doing right now. You're talking to people, you're asking them to open up. If they don't want to see in front, I made my film Crossing the River. If you see, all the girls are wearing veils, right? Some of the girls are covering faces. So the story is being told and it's being shared that you're not alone. That is what it is. You're not alone. So
Yes,
you need to communicate.
I also agree. And it's kind of symbolic that, the whale, you are lifting the whales of what is going on so that people can see the reality and things are no longer hidden. You're bringing conversations on the table instead of, so your idea of activism or your idea of making a contribution is not revolting and fighting against the gender, but having a dialogue, addressing problems. To address problems, we need to have awareness that these exist. Because as an immigrant woman myself, when I came to Canada, I thought this was a problem-free country. It's a country for women, you have women's rights. So when I went through what I went through, I didn't want to share it with anybody because I thought it's unheard of. People don't know about all these things. I will feel like I'm from another planet, or people will say, "Oh, she is from the third world countries. That's where all this happens." But I was surprised that when I opened up and I finally mustered courage to share my story, there were people who had a little bit of courage to send me a personal message and tell me, "You're not alone. This is what is happening to me," or even more is happening to me. And it was like a whole world opened up where, women are being treated the way they're being treated. And it's not just women. I mean, there are some men who have been abused behind closed doors. And, not to ignore the LGBTQ community where I, I wonder what goes on. And so thank you. You're bringing so much on the table. And what I really love about you is the fact that it's not just about being an empath. You have a genuine curiosity about knowing. what's going on in the lives of people that are around you. You take interest in people's lives, and even with that friend, the colleague or worker who came in with a black eye, uh, there will be a lot of people in the same workplace who will pretend they didn't see it because they don't want to get involved. And part of that is that uh, they're scared to get involved, or they don't know how to get involved. And when the person who's had the black eye is not open to sharing her problems, then as someone who is observing, there's not much you can do, because the other person is ready to take that help, or ready to take what is available, or collaborate to change something in their own lives, reach out for help and change something. So it's not something that you could do on your own. If someone is going through a problem, or when you're addressing issues in society, or because you're working on projects that are addressing the problems, bringing awareness about them, but people have to share and talk that there is a problem that exists. So thank you about
And
that.
Shireen, actually, I wanted to, a good thing that you brought this up. And the biggest gaps I've noticed is resources. People it's all there, but they don't know where to find, how to find. So the guidance is so limited. And partly, as you said, because of the communication part of it. So the first A, the communication, B, the resources, they are there. So I think as we are part of the community, each of us are responsible. If you see an incident right in front of you, like I remember another incident. I know these things I have not written much, but because you can find what I've done on the website and everything, and I can share that with you. But there is a, like, I was in school at that point, and I remember that evening 7:30 in the night, I go down, I coming I'm got so I saw this little girl and a boy in front of me, and they were walking in front of me, and then I saw this boy suddenly slapping that girl from the back. Then again, couple of times. I'm walking right behind, and I walked even faster because you can. They are much younger. They're walking faster. I'm trying to follow them faster, and that was in. And then the guy. I caught that guy's hand. I said, "How dare you? What are you doing?" So that fellow said, "How dare you? I'll take you to. Who are you to? You know." So I'm not saying everybody should do that, but looking they could have things. But what I'm trying to be aware, the woman when I went and tried to do that, he backed off, and that girl also got. She said, "No, no, he's my brother. Don't no, it's okay. It's between us." I said, "Yeah, but your brother will hit you so hard on the road and in front of so many people." And is that a valid reason that he's a brother so he can hit you anytime he wants to? And this I'm watching this, and I don't know whether he was a brother or what. Then, like, of course, there was a security people. They came in and they took them away, and they had questioning. But what I'm trying to say is, don't stand silently in the bus in India. I know this is it happens to most of the girls in India
Absolutely.
and South Asia. There is a man who stands right beside you. I'm not telling all men are like that, but I find some, and there are other men who support also through when they do something like that, they stand up and talk for you. There are such people also. But this person who's standing in next to you, he keeps pushing you, and he's pushing his body completely. And you're silent, you're supposed to be silent. You're not supposed to speak up. Or you want to get off at the next stop, you're not able to push through the crowd. So I've gone through all that. I've been pinched in subways, and other people have been, those kind of things that are taken for granted. They're taken for granted. How can you, or even making a slapstick comedy at a public place in a dinner or something, without thinking of how the other person will react. Your words are so important. What you speak, it's not just abuse is not just physical only. Abuse is also verbal, psychological, mental, and many other forms of abuse are there. I'm not saying that you have to be alert and aware and do your bit And that way, each of us, if we do our own bit a little bit, this will be a much better place to live.
Yes, you sharing about the incidents where you stood up for that girl and she asked you to back off in a way. I can understand, and this is exactly how things are with a lot of women, and I've noticed that a lot in women from South Asia. I was working with I had a conversation with a lady who is from India. She heard me speak on stage and she reached out to me, and we met in a coffee shop, and she shared her story of how she is locked up in a closet and she is given a timeout. This grown up adult woman, a mother of children, is given a timeout if she disobeys, I will use the word disobeys, her husband. And so she's locked up. She's not allowed food food during those hours of being locked inside the closet. How humiliating is that? And I didn't have to go through that, thankfully, but I was living, when I heard that, and I was on, fretting and like a volcano that I want to do something for this girl. She never came back. I reached out to her. Are you okay? Messaged her, and a whole, wanting to know what if something happened to her. She never got back. And then after a whole year, I saw her at an event, and I went up to her and I said, "Hey, how are you doing? I was worried about you. You didn't get back to me. It's not about me wanting business or a client or it's a genuine concern for another woman, another human being that I had, and I was worried about her. I mean, how can you trust me with saying that I am not okay and expect me to be okay after that? If I am a conscientious human being, how am I going to be okay? I haven't slept a few nights thinking about you. That is why I am into coaching, because I care. That is
Yeah.
why you are making films. That is why you are writing books. I'm not writing a book about knitting. I'm writing a book about, and nothing wrong with writing a book about knitting. Maybe she grew up to write a book about knitting, wherever your passion lies. What I'm talking about is, I really care. I mean, I'm sure she got that. That is why she she came up to me and she met me without even knowing me as a person. I never knew her before. I had never met her before. It takes a lot of courage to trust a total stranger. Uh,
And Shireen, to your point, I totally understand that, and as I think, and thank God, I've got into the social work field. I'm learning every single day through my courses and everything about the other side. You need to be aware of the other side. So you're especially a person who's going through. They have valid reasons also for not coming out, and that is where where your true, genuine, being authentic is comes to play, right? So you have to kind of um, go slowly onto those cases or onto that situation, and it helped me understand the other side. And that is exactly, it was interesting because I was struggling with the film Crossing the River of Life, because it started off with an incident. So let me talk a little bit about the film, and how it helped me get into understanding, and as I said, deeper understanding of empathy. Like when you're acting out of empathy also, where your constraints are, how to basically how to approach the person and all that. So I learned through that, actually, hands down, when I was doing the film Crossing the River. So it was interesting how it began with so I had a character in mind, because this girl, I saw her since 2012, and the film was, I think, completed in 2018. So it was pretty big long journey, and I was working at that time, so it was very difficult for me. So anyway, what happened was there was an incident that happened in India where there was this girl who jumped from the ninth floor and she passed away. We were there. My son was playing with his friends in cricket at the there, and they kind of heard the herd falling, and there was crowd, and there was a lot of chaos, and he came running upstairs, and then I knew that something has happened, and then went into the balcony, and there was a lot of crowd, and then they told us that somebody jumped from there, and then we didn't know what was going on. So I asked, and my domestic worker, which is Loki, she came in and she told that somebody, because she was going through a lot, and that lady jumped, and nobody knows much about her because she never socialized. They never let her go outside of the house actually. So then the people wherever she was working, they did not let her come out of the house and socialize or do anything or talk to anybody. So sometimes those kind of constraints can be there, right? So then when this all this happened, and in 2 days they cleaned up the whole place, and everybody forgot about it. So I was like, what happened? What happened after that? Where's the who claimed the body? What went happened? And the family also disappeared. So then this girl told me, look, he said, this happens every day. This happens very often. Now people try to jump, people try to commit suicide, they go to the thing because when they can't take it anymore, what else can they do? There's nobody to listen to us. You people are, you guys are financially, you're well off, you're fine, you have help, but I have nobody. We don't have anybody. We have to get by through the day. One day itself is like a 1 year or years for us. So that day is so important. I learned from her, and then as I was subconsciously writing in the book. I will recommend this. Like I know Loki could not write, so I said, Loki, did you have you ever tried to? When she talked, I could see she was kind of she felt happier, and so initially she said, I don't have time for all this because you know what? I work 5 6 houses. Sitting and wasting 1 hour, I can work 1 hour and I'll get so much money. So I said, okay, fine. I had to, and she will not take free money. You give her something, she will. So they have self-respect. People forget that. People forget that, oh, this, you give them money, they'll do it. No, no, not like that. So she had huge, she was very confident about herself, and she's a big speaker now. But at that time, I had to kind of develop a job for her so that she could spend that time with me. So she'll work, and she said, okay, I did all the work, and you want me to speak for so much time? They said, no, no, you do. So I kind of had to go around her. I learned that not every time your case customer, the person, sorry, your person who is suffering, your victim, or I wouldn't put those words, I would actually say this way, the person you are relating to or having that conversation may not want to share. Do not force them. And that is exactly I did. I could have done the film by 2014. I didn't do it. I waited time and time, and I went back, and I saw that was true in all the newspapers and everywhere there were articles about that. Then I found out there was a real issue. Domestic workers, they don't have a law. That is why there's no minimum wage. There's no. Then we saw COVID happen. We saw how many migrant laborers are suffering there. And then, but the common part is, so these people, in Loki's case and other girls there, they had not only had outside pressure of hearing abuse from various people, verbal, physical, sometimes probably be verbal about work, and even women acting cruelly to women. I've seen
Yes.
how they treat them, and they don't give them food till 12 midnight and that kind of thing. And then after that, this at home she used to get beaten up, and every day, every other 2 days, she will get beaten. Even to this day, she doesn't, she doesn't want to come out of it. That's her choice. But she's
I would
aware.
like to sorry, I'd like to interrupt and mention, you brought up a very, very important thing, that is how women treat women. That's a lot of times women are, as you know, yesterday Fatima had mentioned the triangle of abuse. She said that, they're enablers. Either they are enablers by being passive, bystander, watching an abuse happening, or they are perpetrators themselves. And some of them can be really nasty about ill treating another woman based on where they are in relationship with her. And when women can treat women like this, that's when some men think, okay, why not us? And and this, that the poor victim is kind of torn and thrown around, and like a ping pong ball between gender violence is, from a woman, from a man, and everywhere, because she has established that it's okay to treat her like that by not saying anything about it. And also,
You're so right, and yeah,
sorry.
you're so right. You're so right when you said it all begins from your home. Okay, so let's put it this
Yes.
way: whether it all begins right there, how you bring up your children, how you behave with your parents, it's all related.
And how you behave
So
with your
if
children.
we,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know yeah, I know about the phenomenal work you're doing for these women in India, and advocating for them, so that they have some respite and some dignity for the work that they have to offer the community. And there's dignity of labor and respect for them. Going to your other projects, tell us a little bit about Freedom Concert. I attended the Freedom Concert in person in 2019, and I had a blast. And what was very interesting, we did the Freedom Online concert this year, and just 2 days ago, I spoke with our friend Uzma. You introduced me to her, and it was so interesting to know that she knows me from Freedom 2019. And here's the beauty of it: we didn't know each other, but she remembers me. And I was so moved when she shared with me how she remembers me. I mean, Freedom 2019, I just briefly met you at the event. You were extremely busy. I didn't talk or share any of my story on that day. But at the end of the event, we had a little dance, and where we just let ourselves loose on the floor, and we danced and we danced, and we were a whole bunch of women and a few men, and we had a great time together. She remembers me from that moment when I danced, and she said that she had never danced before, and she joined in to dance. Now that there that little thing that really touched my heart. That was making a difference. That is
thank you
what,
so much.
that's like being a Flintstone. I was just being myself. Svetlana was being herself. She was very impressed with Svetlana too. But the energy, everybody, Ritu was there, you were there, all of us, the energy we were exuding is what everybody else around us picked up on, like tuning forks, and we all were like in alignment after that, and we enjoyed ourselves. So tell us a little bit about why freedom, is important.
Okay. Okay, so I remember this. It is. I have a very dedicated team. I have to tell you that they have a team of volunteers. Some people are professionals, contractors, and I will say they make it look good. I am not. I just come up with these crazy ideas sometimes, and they are the ones who put it all together. Okay, so they are my hands and eyes, and they're triple, four time, how many times more passionate about everything. So what for this one especially, freedom means so we came up with freedom of speech, freedom of action, freedom to think responsibly. Because there was another my colleague who said yes to think, but think responsibly, and freedom to act. These were the four themes that we revolved freedom concept. And we brought the program, as you had said, you saw the segmentation was done accordingly. So being a Toastmaster, I had listened to, I still do, but not to that extent, but I was very exposed internationally and even within our Canada, and about the various topics that they talk and everything. And I found that that platform, because it was created, they could speak freely and in a responsible way. So actually, yes, it got germinated from a little bit from a Toastmaster background. So that was the craft. But the message came from the passion and the point that we could do whatever. There was this person, I think, no, I remember now. It was Jackie actually. She said, I feel comfortable in my skin here today. What a beautiful statement.
Right.
Like, I am not being judged. I am who I am. So that is what Freedom's essence was, and Freedom's 2019 was done in a it was a live event first time, and I have never done a live event. The only time I thought was maybe my son's wedding, and it was more like everybody came together. Whomever I asked, there was no no's. Okay, whomever I asked, there was no one who said no. Even right from anchors to presenters to speakers. I know I was introduced to you much later, otherwise it would have been. And then you were in Freedom 2020, you were there already, right? So that's how it is. It's like magnet. It's two-way attraction. It's not just that. It's just like you want to work, you want to do this, let's do it, and it brings beautiful colors. Aziza was with us. Aziza brought a very powerful story out there. Did you see the people who were speaking? I still, when I think about it, goosebumps come. Roger Caesar. I've never seen Roger Caesar. I listened to him in many places and everything. But that special Freedom Night on 2019, that was his family was there, and it was a very special moment for him. They had traveled all the way, and it was an amazing way to connect. Satlana, she brought a complete team there with us. We all danced through different music. There was no boundaries. As you said, no, there was no boundaries. I think that's what we created that in that
So
few
that's
hours.
what I
And the
said
connection.
about you. Your superpower is that you are a person who is beyond political boundaries. You bring the whole world together. You are a global person, that's what I see. And so your freedom stands for freedom over fragmentation.
That's
I'm
correct.
thinking of Tagore and his words, where the mind is without fear, and the head is held high, and where knowledge is free, so, and he
Yeah.
talks about the narrow domestic walls, and that's what you are doing. So your uh, your spin on fighting against violence that is gender based. So violence is meant to break down, to fragment, to divide, to separate. And so then there are polarities like men, women, male, female. We're split up into polarities, and the oneness of being human is sometimes overlooked, or most times overlooked. So your spin on fighting against violence is bringing people together in um, compassion, sharing a space of humanity, sharing a space of brotherhood, sisterhood, humanhood. That's how you are fighting how to eliminate violence. That means by extending a hand of friendship. And one way of extending a hand of friendship is, from what I observed in your Freedom concert, you brought in, there were women dancing from different backgrounds, from different parts of the world, and they were sharing their culture, because dance is a communication. It's a very tremendous way of communicating. Even birds and animals dance before they mate. So dance, it has nothing to, I mean, dance is a form where words, you don't need words. You're communicating with your spirit, with your body, with your eyes, with your facial expressions. And the other person who is dancing with you or enjoying what you're doing is absorbing all, and somebody else who's dancing with you is responding. It's a play. It's awesome to have that environment. So before we talk about ending violence, we need to first make friendship, and that's what you're doing.
Correct.
You're bringing
That's
awareness.
right.
You're sharing the pain of the people who have suffered, people who died by suicide, and how is it that the rest of the world is okay. You're bringing that to the table. And then I'm very interested in knowing the project that you have committed to immigrant women, and that's Shri. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm very humbled by you saying your. It is not your. It's a huge group of people. You know that. I want to thank all of them, and I will send the links in there so you can see what goes behind the scenes. And I am not a person or mimi person. I do not like that. You know that very well. It is just that we all come together with a common idea and a common platform. It doesn't matter whose platform it is. It is serving the purpose, and that's what we all believe in. In this case, also, I think the music that you were talking, it was done by Jazz Goa Colin Cruz, and he's a very eminent personality in India, and he's a very commercial person. He did not take anything for that show, and he was there and he supported the show with Melanie Pereira. You know Melanie too, because
Oh, I
Melanie
love her
after that
voice.
got yes, she went in and performed in various other programs with similar things. So we need people like that coming forward, and even Aziza, for example, how she brought the dancer in there. So like we all work together to build that beautiful vision. So that's what I'm saying it out to them, to everybody. If you're suffering in silence, that's not going to stop. You need to speak up, number one. You speak up to anyone whom you're comfortable. You don't need to speak to, say Malaika or Shireen or anybody. No. Speak to a person whom you're comfortable. Get it out of your chest first. Number two, you have lot of resources. Get out there. Get involved. Don't suffer in silence. So that's what exactly that brings me to Shri actually. And Shri was very interesting because Shri, I wanted to do the seasons of Canada, and especially I love Canada, and it's beautiful. How we have this fall season, we have this winter, and then now we are going through winter, and then we have spring and summer. Each of these characters represent a season. So it started with that, and but I was also looking for women without like who love to dance. And as you said, the dance, the biggest that brings everybody together. We saw that in Freedom 2019. So I was working on, and but issues also mattered, and I want each one to kind of symbolize or speak about something. So each one of them. So fall starts with the with fall, and we have Ritu there. We're featuring, and first we thought we'll do fiction because you know what, documentary is very hard and all. Then I said no, let's just speak, open up the character, and find out what they have to say in the message instead of documenting it. So, in case of Ritu's thing, she was talking about her struggle as an immigrant when she came into Canada, her own relationships that didn't work out, and um, and how she came out of that relationship, and then she started a new love and new venture that has brought her to the stage. She's a celebrity in GTA actually. So and she's a close friend of mine. I could succeed that. I used to talk to Ritu. We used to talk, so that's why I said talking is very important. We confided. We were like we still, whenever we get, she understands me before I even like say 2 3 words. She'll complete the
Right.
sentence. So that's the kind of feeling, bonding we had, and I could see she had a lot to offer. And if you watch her segment, you will see the film, and she talks about fall. She related her fall, the life that she went through, the transition of her relationships, and then how she moved into a different relationship, and how the season helped her because she loved that Paul, that gave her new ventures and things like that. So that is what the first season is about, how to deal with relationships
Right.
which are not sometimes going right. When you go through a separation, when you go through a divorce, when you go through a breakup, even a, there was this girl in the bus I met. She was going through breakup, and she suddenly started talking to me because she felt the connection. I need to talk to someone. So when you have that connection, do it, okay? So that is my first thing. Second, of course, the second character was about Jayashree, who's a very close friend. I know her from my Jamia days. So I'm a mass comm, I did mass comm
Right.
in way back in '93. And so Jayashree was my cinematographer at the time. She was training in cinematic. She did cinematography and direction, and I did. We all actually did part of everything, but we worked in projects together basically. And Jayashree and I are very close friends, and she shared her story about adoption, because her children are adopted, and she talked about the winter and the dance, why how dance has kind of made her like the guru concept, right, the teacher concept, and how she has shared her knowledge with all the students that she's taught. And it's a beautiful story about women empowerment through dance. So that's what the winter story is about. The spring, which is coming, you'll see a very young girl, very sweet girl, Tiana. She's just entering her 20s. So you see Ritu is in a different age group. You have Jayashree, who's more in my age group, and then you have Tiana, who's very young, and they're different backgrounds too. So Ritu is from northern India, Jayashree is from southern India. Tiana is from Serbia. So you'll see a Serbian folklore dance, at different types of dance as well. So Ritu dance Punjabi Kathak, Jayashree dances Bharatnatyam, southern classical,
Yes.
and then
So
you
from
have
what
and
I
you have
understand, that I've watched Ritu's film, and I what I how I perceived it was, I see in that film the story of immigrant women who leave their home country, a country where they feel safe and familiar, and travel far away to an unknown land, and they're kind of lost because it's like reset mode. And your homeland where you were born and where you grew up and you lived there for so many years, you have your roots in there. You've been uprooted for whatever reason, good, bad, whatever reason, and you've come to
Mhm.
a new country, and everything is so strange and new. The culture, the climate, the people around you, the language, the food. It's a lot of change, so many different changes to deal with. And so you're suddenly lost because there's no sense of familiarity. And there, in that phase, these women who are acting in Sri have found themselves.
So actually, I was trying to, maybe we should show them the promo a bit. So
Sure,
I will see if I can screen share if we can. So
sure.
before it's I will I'll say if it works, very good. If not, we'll share the link. Okay, so we'll try
Right.
this. Yeah, thank you so much, and let's see if it works. Let me know. If not, we will work on the links. Okay. I hope if you can see. Let's see.
I don't think.
One second, let me try again one more time. If not, we will do this. Yeah, share share with audio. 1 second.
Do I have to do anything from my end?
I'm going to check if it's working. 1 second. Okay, it's not working. It looks like we could not share. No problem. Are you back?
Hello.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's okay. So we will share the link. It looks like a little bit of a technical hitch. And
Right.
yes, it's a beautiful trailer.
What?
And you please look out for I'll be doing a special screening soon on Shri. Everything is in, or even the website. I will share all the links in this chat, and you can all watch it at your convenience.
Right.
And yeah, look out for spring and then summer, which is spring is about culture, how to preserve your culture,
Right.
and the summer is about refugees in Canada,
Wow.
how like the whole journey of refugees. So,
Right.
but each of them have a story and a unique dance that they are uh,
Yes.
actually
Right.
portraying. Yes.
So, I knowing how passionate you are and you love doing your research, I know that's why you've gone to do your course for being a social service worker, because you really want to know every detail of what is available, what's working, what's not working, to put something together. So, my question to you is, when you joined, like how I was surprised to know that the gender-based violence is a thing in Canada, because back home in India, I thought something like this didn't exist in the Western world, but now I know that it's a global thing, because there are women who are, from Latin America, women who are from Philippines, women who are from the Middle East, women from China, South Asia, you name it. And even a Canadian woman shared with me that, she's been through domestic violence and abuse. So it is a global, that's a pandemic too, like, and that has
Hmm.
been there since God knows when. And there's no vaccine created on that one as yet. So now what I'm trying to ask you is, when you went in to do your social worker course, did you discover anything that kind of shocked you or surprised you?
I think went more. I'm still more of a student mode. I went, so I'm still discovering. The
Right.
fact is that it's out there. It is there. It's a lot of cases. Oh my! You won't even, especially you will be surprised by the cases and how many years it took them to come out. How
Yes.
many times woman has to leave home and she goes back. So
Right.
that is one of the biggest issue. And another thing is about the various organizations, the accessibility. The biggest problem was accessibility.
Right.
Even though we have systems in place and we have very good, actually, right away, shelters are there and
Mm,
lots of social work organizations are working in GTA at least.
mm.
But still, I felt that the resource for a person who's going through that, they don't there's not really a central hub. I mean, they'll just give you a number, and that person, like, I met a friend of mine and she was telling me she knew somebody, and she asked me, do you have this information, do you have this information? So there, people are trying to help people, right? So
Right.
the my best thing is to go, when you are, if you're not able to speak, at least do your own research. And there's
Right.
something called private mode on your internet. If you don't want other people to see your browser, you
Right.
can do that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. And there's a method. I think I remember there was I don't, that there was, this was back in the day that you have a dot if you're going through abuse and you need a help. There was a sign language you can use as well. So there's a few things, aids that are there, resources that are there. So I'm learning how to get more resources, where to get, and
Right.
once we know that, then we give it to the right people
Right.
when such opportunity
Right.
comes. I'm also looking forward to working with various social work organizations. So and find out different things. So there's a lot of things to learn. It's a huge field. Counseling is the biggest one. I'm not sure that I'm really qualified to do that. There's a lot of education. There's a lot of work that goes behind being a good counselor. And even for an intake person, they need to really be. very
Mm.
correct and authentic when they are taking the information in and all that. So it's pretty interesting field. I will really, and a lot of women who have joined have that we say no that they share their location with such situations. So they join the field for that reason too, and
Okay.
that there's some people also. So that is so that's a good. That's if you want to learn, it's best to join. That's I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah,
Maybe there are some women who might be joining to feel empowered because they've lived through abuse, they've lived through issues in their lives, and they feel like if they work as a social worker, they'll know the law, they'll have access to what is available, all the information. And then the perpetrator, if he knows that this woman is a social worker, they won't mess with her. You know,
correct.
I feel like a lot of women do this because as a protective mechanism, in self-defense. I understand that. I have one last question for you, and that is from your book. And there is on page 5, when you've told Loki, the domestic worker, that you would like to film her, and she it says, when I first told her about the documentary and her possible participation in it, Loki stared at me. First of all, what does the name Loki stand for? Like, what does it mean? I know what it means. I would love for you to share it with the audience. It's interesting.
So so in Hinduism, the goddess Lakshmi is goddess of wealth, actual wealth. And so she's for prosperity, wealth. So
Mm.
everybody, especially men, pray her. Also, men, women, everyone. Because
Yes,
they want wealth. Everybody wants prosperity. So
right.
Loki means prosperity. It's really interesting. I can so symbolically, Loki is prosperity because she is bringing the money. Even in this, our Loki, right?
Right.
She's bringing the money
She,
for her family. She's running
so
the
she,
show. The running the show. Yeah,
right. So
It was funny that her husband is he's got two marriages, right? Two wives.
right.
So apparently every day he comes home and beats up these things. So one day she said, you know what? So he said, if you guys don't work, what he said is he doesn't work. He works sometime. He doesn't work sometime. He makes these two women work.
So
So he said Loki and the other first wife, they all live together, okay?
Jamuna.
So then now, Jamuna, yes. So then Loki, this time, he said, this COVID time, we don't have money. What are we going to do? She said, go back home and marry three more people. We'll all work for you.
So here's the thing. So,
So
okay, look.
Loki is goddess of I'm sorry, I really, Mahalakshmi, I also pray to you. I want to, but what I'm trying to say is, um,
But she is the
I'm
breadwinner.
judge.
She's the
Correct.
provider,
She's
the
the breadwinner.
winner of her
Correct.
family. So in
And
that,
that's why I wish they respect women the same way they respect the goddess of wealth.
right. And so I also, I mean, coming from the same culture and speaking the same language, I also remember when I was growing up, and if I did good things and if I was being a good girl, people said ki lokhi me. So Loki also means the good girl, very
Yes.
nice. And it is, in
Yes.
a way, it is something that a lot of girls want to hear, and that stays with them, and that's how people exploit women, because they want to
Yes.
be Loki, they want to be that
Yes.
good girl, that good woman in people's lives.
Sober, nice. Yeah, and Loki, it's a good this thing. It's a very good. That's why people respect her. But we
Right.
to be also, I would say, be worthy of her too.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
be worthy of her grace. So you
Right.
want to respect her, love her, pray her, but be worthy of it.
Worship her.
So
Absolutely.
make sure the Griha Loki, this is housewife, we also call that. Make sure you respect her as well.
The women of the house.
Griha Loki,
And
yes,
if
Griha
you look
Loki.
at if you look at the Indian culture, you talk, even in the Western world now, they're talking about Kundalini, awakening of the Kundalini is the male and the female
Mm-hmm.
energy, the yin and the yang, and balancing the Kundalini. That means we both have the male and the female energy within us, the spirit. and
Mm-hmm.
and so in the Hindu culture, the woman is exalted to the role of a
Mm-hmm.
goddess, because if you look at Shakti, she's female. You look at the person in charge of the deity, like in charge of wealth, is a female. She's Lakshmi, Loki. And you look at
Yeah.
education, wisdom, education,
Saraswati.
knowledge. She's Saraswati. She's a female goddess. You look at
Yeah.
the provider, Annapurna, the
Yeah.
provider. She is female. So what are you doing when you're worshiping all these statues and not seeing the Annapurna, the Lakshmi, the Saraswati, the Shakti in your own home and honoring them?
Yeah.
That is
And that is exactly why our Lucky stared at me. She think why she wants to write a book on me, and when everybody knows how I'm treated, and what is this going? Where is it going? That
right.
was the blank stare that she looked at me and said. Actually, I want to conclude with this two-line song that it reminds me of Loki. And please, everybody, do read that book. It's a beautiful story about a person who is not famous, but you know what? Her issue is very relevant to today,
Mm,
especially when we are living in COVID times. And we are doing a let's talk actually this Sunday live. I'm
mm,
also going for my show with
mm,
starting this Sunday. Let's
right,
talk, and we are bringing in all current issues there. So I heard domestic violence has gone up a lot during
right,
the COVID time. So and
right,
this thing. So I just want everyone, if you have any issues, please reach out to Shireen. Or also, you can reach out to me. We can help anyway. We will certainly support you. So these two lines were Loki, and let me know how you feel. So I have this other talent that I won't say talent. This is actually my tool that brought me to radio station, and this is the one that also connected me to Sundarban and the girls who are human trafficked from Sundarban to the other parts of the world. And this
right.
is part of these domestic workers. Many of them have been trafficked also. So I learned about human trafficking as well in that film. So it's about চেজন প্রেমের ভাব জানি না তার সঙ্গে নাইলে না দেনা খাটি সোনা ছাড়িয়া যে নাই নকল সোনা সেজন সোনা চেনে না যেজন প্রেমের ভাব জানি না তার সঙ্গে নাইলে না দেনা খাটি সোনা ছাড়িয়া যে নাই নকল সোনা সেজন সোনা চিনি না. So I'm going to give this translation to Shireen, and she will tell you the essence of these two lines. Here you go, Shireen. What does this song mean?
Oh, you're asking me?
Shireen,
Okay,
yes.
so you're talking about you know uh, people with a golden heart, a loving heart compared to someone who's not real and authentic. And so, the a genuine, authentic, loving person with a loving heart is compared to gold, and someone who's not is not real gold. It is fake gold. And so the singer is singing about, that I don't know, like if you're not real, I don't know who you are. Is that what it means?
Yes,
I
that
don't
is
want to know
exactly,
who you
and
are.
that is exactly. So that is the choice is in you. So don't suffer in silence. Make
Mm.
sure you have make those selections in your life who add value to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Malika, for adding so much value to our lives and to sharing all your talent and your skills so generously. And for sharing your time with us today. I have just one little question from you. I'm curious to know that with all your effort and your contribution, where is Loki today? Is there some respite? Does she have some help? Are people watching your film and movies, your film and you're reading your books? And I know you've done some fundraiser. I think you've supported her. So would you just like how this has helped her? How you you know selflessly wanting to do something for her has been of great help to her. So more people will be encouraged to share their stories, because there are many other ways. You don't always have to end up fighting to fight against violence. There are many peaceful ways of advocating for it. So please share where we are at with Loki.
So, see, as a filmmaker, you can only make things aware, I'll be
Absolutely.
very honest. And this is where you can only, and with Loki, I would say awareness has come. A lot of people
Absolutely.
know about domestic workers, so the development. Some people didn't let me come to their houses because I was watching their domestic workers, how they're treating. That's a
Right.
separate conversation. But there were many other people who supported it, who are more aware now how they treat their domestic workers. Even for Loki herself, she speaks up now. She doesn't. She's not quiet, and her issue is not just anymore within the walls of her house. So she's talked to. She has a lawyer. She works for a lawyer now. She doesn't work for money. She works for people who have positions. She's make her so she's become smarter. She knows how to handle her cash. So she's financially. She asks, "What should I do?" Even and the fundraising, as you said, yes, we did a little bit of a fundraising. 50% I gave it to her, and 50% I sent to the people of Sundarban. At that time, I have not done a fundraiser recently, but we do. I do support her wherever I can. My
Right.
parents, and she's a very, as I told you, she's
Absolutely.
a very independent woman. She will not take any handouts. So she works very hard still, but she doesn't work that much because regulated hours.
Right.
Where she's struggling is the relationship part still, because she's not made it because she still thinks that the child needs a father, and she doesn't want to leave, move out of the house. She still has not left him completely, but they're all living together. But I think there's an awareness that that she's not silently taking the beatings so much. And if he does, he knows that it will be because there's a lawyer who's standing beside her. There are other people in the complex who know about her issue. The book
Right.
kind of brought a lot of local awareness as well.
Right.
So it
So
won't. They know. Yeah.
right. So in the book where you're telling her that you want to make a documentary film on her, and she frowns and she asks why, I can totally visualize her telling you Keno, and you say to help you, and I know where you're coming from, and then she shook her head and she says, a film won't help me. No one helps us. And that sentence like stayed with me, like it's like an alarm, a reality check. So many films have been made on violence against women. Where are we at? Like, what has changed? And then I was questioning this today in the morning, and I was thinking she has a pertinent question. So where has that changed? And then I realized I got my answer, that when she says no one helps us, yes, no one will help you. You have to help yourself. And she is learning that. And so part of the process of eliminating violence against women is when women stand up or learn to help themselves. As you said, now she's more aware. Now she is problem solving. She is planning strategically. As you said, that she's now working with a lawyer, and she is negotiating maybe terms with the lawyer, that I'll render my services to you, I'll give you a discounted rate, you give me legal advice. Now she is stepping up in her power. That film opened up that world for her. She is finding her voice, she's exploring all the avenues that she has and what she can do, and she will get there. She will get there. And thank you. This is what your film did to her. This is what, by sharing this on this platform, people who are listening will get ideas and suggestions of what they could do to prevent or eliminate violence in their lives. Some of the things, small things that they could do by standing up, by problem solving, by negotiating. Okay, I don't have money to work with a lawyer. What could I do? An exchange in have an exchange of services so that I could have some help. And I'm pretty sure that there will come a time in Loki's life where she will say enough to her relationship with her husband as well. Any change, any transformation takes time. It happens, evolution happens, it takes ages to happen. So any change or transformation takes time. And that's what it is happening. Life is unfolding for her, and she's growing and evolving as a human being. And that's the contribution you made. If we can change one person's life in this planet, we've done our part. So thank you, Malika. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for the beautiful song. You have a lovely voice. How are there any other hidden talents you have? Tell
No,
me. Tell me. So
no,
I
I think
understand.
I think you opened the Pandora's box now. I think yeah, that this is just what is left in the singing part. I don't do singing so much, but it helps you, and you need to also do mindfulness, and that's another thing in social work I'm learning actually is mindfulness. Mindful practices are important, and music is one of them that helps me. People find mindful activities through meditation, through walks, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you
Right.
happy, and it makes your clarifies your thought. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you very much once again. And thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
thank you, thank you to all the people watching. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions that you need to ask Malika or me, you can personally message her. She is on our Facebook group. And Malika, please do share your link in the comment section, the trailer, so that people can see the kind of work you do. Thank you very much for being here with us today. Everybody have a very wonderful rest of the day, rest of the night, depending wherever you are in the world. We are going to meet again tomorrow with yet another powerful lady. And she's going to share her story and her strengths and what she's doing in the world to make it a better place for everyone. Until then, bye bye.
Thank you so much, Shireen.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.